Joe's Table is a coffee shop in Burnaby, BC, but there you won't find your typical baristas. Inspired by their late son Joseph, who died tragically in a swimming accident, Peter and Stephanie Chung opened Joe's Table in his honor. With Joseph in mind, who was autistic, they hire people with learning disabilities as their baristas. Raising a child with a learning disability is not easy, and the Chungs would be the first to tell you that. But they would also tell you how Joseph was their missionary, serving them and many others as an inspiration for a deeper relationship with Jesus. Peter and Stephanie Chung saw Joseph grow into a fine young man. 3 generations of family praying him through his life trials. Together, a family rooted in Jesus Christ. Doctors Peter and Stephanie Chung are with us today. Peter is the CEO and chairman of Primacore Ventures. Stephanie is a concert pianist, a choral conductor, and a wonderful leader of Bethesda, a group for women who take encouragement through raising children with special needs. Both of you, thank you so much for being with 100 Huntley Street. Let's talk about Joseph, your special missionary. It was actually a medical accident that you had to forgive that triggered him into autism. How did you cope with realizing Joseph wasn't the perfect little child?
When he was 3, Joseph diagnosed with autism, and that time it was very hard. Like a sky was falling on me, but grace of God, we could go through.
Grace of God, but sheer stubbornness of care and parents' love. Peter, how did you cope with realizing your firstborn son is not going to be all that you dreamed he would be?
It's only through faith in God, but to be honest, I was very disappointed, and I blame God a lot too, because we dedicated him as a missionary to the Lord, and we were asking God, how can he be a missionary? He can't even speak right. His behavior is not normal, and so we went through that period of blaming God for giving us a son that we have dedicated as a first fruit to the Lord. So in that sense, it was very devastated. But later we found out that God had a much bigger plan.
And thank you for sharing honestly that you went through a season of blaming God, because you were close friends with God. You practiced the beautiful Korean tradition of going to church every morning, of praising God. It was a near drowning. It's so tragic because he does eventually at 32 die of drowning. But when he was it 8 years old? Mm-hmm. And you begged God not to let him die in that drowning as you watched all the resuscitation and all the care that was needed. What happened for you both with that 8-year-old little boy and begging God to bring him back?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we almost lose our child. He was in coma. The doctor said there is a very little chance to survive. But that night we prayed and help me, Lord. And then we repented, the Lord, that I lived the selfish way of my living. And I think that night we prayed all our heart, and then asking for the help. And then God answered our prayer, that he survived. And then from that moment, it's nothing changed. Nothing changed. Joseph's still in autism, but I gave all the thanks to the Lord. That and then I have a loving towards to Joseph is tremendously, and I love the Lord so much that God answered our prayer.
So you get your beautiful 8-year-old autistic son back from the edge of death. But adolescence is about to begin. And if adolescence isn't challenging enough, raising teenagers who are normal, one with a severe autistic disability like Joseph's was going to take you into a whole new journey. We're going to be back with facing the difficult teenage years of autism after this, so stay with us.